Hey everyone, this is Alaska from Call Out Culture. I hope you're enjoying the podcast. And if you are enjoying the podcast and you feel inspired to start your own, let me tell you about the system that we use. It is called Anchor. Best things about Anchor, it's free. There's tools that allow you to create and record and edit your podcast right from your phone and your computer. You can even add a song from Spotify directly from into your episodes. The possibilities are endless of what you could create, whether it's like music analysis or your own radio show or something that the world's never heard before. I don't know what that is. You figure that out. Not my job, yours. Anchor is going to distribute the podcast for you so it'll be heard on Spotify, Apple, and all the other podcast tunes you can use. Like all you do is you upload your podcast and boom, it appears in the other feeds. You can also make money through advertisements like this, or you can also set up like your own sort of Patreon fan support thing. There's no minimum listenership, and everything you need to make your podcast is in one place. So if you want to do a podcast, you want to be like us here at Call Out Culture, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm and get started.
Welcome to Call Out Culture Podcast with Alaska, Curly Castro, and Zilla Rock.
When you were watching it, how was the music? Was it the same music, like the original music throughout, or was it like they didn't have sample clearances?
Like the fade to black,
put in like
like generic like rap beat.
So like that was the thing. I was trying to remember what the original music even was, because I don't, but I know that the interstitial music between comedians, it was very much like canned hip hop beat.
Yeah, it was, right? Because I was watching Tubi and it was the same shit. I was like, what? That's not. It didn't even make beats that sounded like that.
Yeah, I literally, I was thinking like, so Kid Capri had this shit pressed on wax.
How do you get Swizz beats in '92?
Oh my god,
they had lo-fi hip hop.
They lo-fi
pressed on vinyl in '92.
Yeah, they loved it back. They couldn't get enough of this stuff in Uptown. They loved it. Couldn't get enough. '92 lo-fi. Oh my god!
I fell asleep on the couch watching it last night and woke up at 5:30 and it was still running. I was like, God damn, Tubi doesn't even have that thing. Like, you still watching?
Like,
nah, Tubi's just happy you're watching, so they don't give a fuck. They're just like, let it run.
Yeah, they'll throw a commercial anywhere. It's like the most homophobic comedian goes on. Let's throw on a commercial for VBRO.
Dog, the phobia was phobian. It was
wild,
heavy. Like I was trying to grapple with, like, I was like, damn, we needed an update in the 90s. We had no updates. This shit was just, everybody either came out with bits about like sex or sex and fucking homophobia. It was just like, all right, and nobody was
shit white people do.
Shit white people do, black people do, and also nobody was eating pussy or sucking dick.
No,
it was literally just
it was wild. Nobody.
Oh my god, I can't believe we started the show with all this, right? No, I'm just kidding.
We jump right. He said homophobia.
Right into the deep end.
This is good. I just want to know before we start. I would love for someone to listen to the show whenever we put it up, who's never seen Def Comedy Jam.
Ooh,
and then like, because the good thing about our show is like in the last couple of weeks that we did a Scaramanga / Sir Menelik episode, and people were like, I'd never heard this dude, he's amazing, and people were like, I went and bought his 12-inch because you guys talked about it. Or Castro, they talked about like Company Flow, like Crazy Kings, and someone's like, I went out and bought the 12-inch because you guys talked about it. I want to see the person be like, I never heard of this stuff. What is it? Let me just check it out.
And they're like, guys, Dave Chappelle.
They're gonna be doxing us quick, bro. We're gonna be out of here.
When Dave Chappelle went on, I was like, man, I didn't realize how much of a central theme in his comedy this has been.
It's held him down. It's held him down.
Line,
I mean, it's really held. It's like for me watching Sixers, Danny Green. He just stands in the corner waiting to catch and shoot that three. That's all he wants to do. I just want to. And I'm not going to defend. I'm not passing the ball. I just go. I'm right here. I'm good at this. Chappelle's like, man, this is times are right.
Yeah. This is just butter right here. I got this one.
44%. Boom. Got it. clicking.
It's gonna kill every time.
But yeah, there was so many of those moments where I was just like, yeah, this didn't age well. But there were some moments like the I forget the woman's name, but it was like there was like a trans comedian on it. I was like, what the fuck is
word? What
yeah,
was that in?
It was in a season hosted by Joe Torre.
Yes.
And I forget
what was her name.
I wish I could remember, but she had on like a maroon pantsuit and like a maroon pantsuit, and she came out and she was just like she was speaking in like a real dainty feminine voice, and then she was like like kind of lowered the register, and it freaked everybody out. And she was like, "I know y'all wonder why I'm up here dressing like this," and it was like, "Oh, okay." So it was almost like she had to kowtow to the phobia, to the general atmosphere, to like let motherfuckers know, like I'm aware, but this is just who I am. It was kind of a really interesting thing to watch with like the bit of context that I had about, you know, just reliving how like in the 90s we were not as evolved as a society.
Yeah.
We didn't have the nuance. We couldn't really discuss things in the way.
You know what's crazy? I'm gonna keep all this, by the way. We'll like do an intro at some point, but this is something fascinating I want to say based on what you're saying, right? So I just started a new job this week where I'm fully remote, but in my old job, I was in person, you know, up until COVID, and I would do this training for like LGBTQ awareness, and we would talk, you know, about everything. It was great, but I would have people in this trainings from like around the world, from like every culture, every background, every age. So people with wildly different views on everything, right? And so I would talk about saying, like, I remember my life where just homophobia was like breathing, like it was how we talk to each other as dudes, where that's all we joked with each other about, right? And the first time I ever heard someone say that's wrong, there was like a PSA with like Grant Hill and like Steve Nash in like 2005 or 6, where they were just showed, it was like during the NBA playoffs, and there was like these two dudes playing ball, and a dude dribbled off his foot, and dude's like, "Ha, look at you, can't even dribble, you're so gay." And then Grant Hill goes, he's like, "You can't do that. You can't equate weakness or sensitivity or feminine qualities with the whole set of people." And the dude's like, "Why not?" And then they start breaking it all down, right? And I'm like, 2000, I was like in my early 20s, and I was like, what's wrong with that? Like, well, that's how me and my friends talk every day. Like, what do you mean I can't say that? Huh? Steve Nash and Grant Hill? Like, why is this a problem? And then after that, I was like, they would air that PSA a lot, and I was always like, oh shit, like we're really foul. Like, damn, like, oh. It was like early. It took the early to mid 2000s for it to just become a thing, to be like, hey, don't just because your friend like got mustard on his pants doesn't mean he's gay. Like, what are we talking about? But that's just how it was. Like, that's
actually like a telltale sign.
Yeah, the mustard stains.
The mustard.
Oh man.
Yeah, mustard stains. Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, it's obvious. You don't need a gay guard. Everybody knows that. But like, it's just funny you say that, because it's like, this was what. When was the first season of Def Comedy? Like 91?
It was 92. Yeah.
2. Okay, so like
we are now
92. I think the first
30 years.
We are full experts on the story of.
Yeah, so this is Call Out Culture Podcast, by the way. We got Donwill checking in for the first time. It's Tanya Morgan, legendary.
Give myself a round of applause.
All right, great Twitter follow, by the way. Phenomenal Twitter follow. You know,
Thank you.
There's some people that all of us in the group chat would be like, oh, this guy's a rough Twitter follow. I gotta put the guy on mute. Good friend of mine, like his beats, like his rhymes. Donwill is never muted, never been muted.
Yeah, no.
In Twitter history, he's never been muted.
I try to keep my Twitter informative, and it definitely has a bias towards progressive ideas and views, and I'm friendly, you know what I'm saying? I'm my Twitter and my personality are kind of the same thing, but yeah, I'm not if I have like a really like a hot take or a thing to say, some of that shit don't make it to Twitter.
Good. Thank you. Good.
People don't know how to edit themselves. I think that that's the biggest thing that I've learned about people on Twitter. The other thing too, social media in general, the thing that I've learned is that just because we're friends doesn't mean I have to follow you.
Oh, wow. Good one.
And it has nothing to do with being friends. It's just that when you sign on to a social media platform, now you're publishing content, whether or not you agree, whether or not you think that just the weird photo of your mom eating a taco from Saturday night it's fucking content. And it's on my feed next to something I actually want to see. And like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying I don't want to see your mom in the weird taco. What I'm saying is that a lot of times people don't necessarily look at social media as, they look at it as like life updates. And I'm like, no, if I wanted the life updates, I would contact you directly.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So,
real life. Because I have your number.
Right.
Good.
You know, granted, it all folds in. There are some people who is just like, cool, give me the baby and the mom photos and all that shit. But for the most part, especially Twitter, I'm a little more lax on Instagram because, you know, the algorithm don't give a fuck. It's not going to show me your shit anyway. So I'll follow the shit out of it.
Yeah, that's true.
Twitter.
And it's photos. It's for that.
Yeah, Twitter is words. Like, I don't know. There's a lot of times I'm like, I don't want to hear your thoughts, man.
Not interested. I'm out.
Yeah. I often get my algorithm set where it's like just like people talking about the Jets and rap.
Dude,
You know?
mine, since James Harden came to the Sixers, all my feed now is like awesome Sixers fans and us just talking shit about how James Harden's the best, Ben Simmons is a bitch, Philly's great. And I'm always like, oh, this is great. I feel really happy every day. Look, this is great. I don't care about anything else in the world. We got James Harden. This is great. I feel good all the time. I'm like, this is a good algorithm.
So I watch sports as pop culture, which is probably I'm like that sports fan. It's just like I know about James Harden going to the Sixers because I know he was complaining about being on a team. Correct. I don't know what team he was on.
He was on the Cleveland Broncos. So since we got him, it's been great. The Cleveland Broncos, they didn't deserve James
Cleveland Broncos.
And I'm like, yeah, the Cleveland Broncos isn't a team. Like in my mind, I was like, the Cleveland has the Cavaliers and the Broncos are Denver. Like I know
they left. They left. The Broncos came there. It was crazy. You missed it.
It's a football team.
It's new. It's next level. You missed it. You got to pay attention more. You got to subscribe to The Athletic like me.
I'm doing it. I'm locking in. I'm just gonna follow everybody on that you follow.
There you go. That's pretty dope. We got Alaska here.
What's going on?
He's got the Jets algorithm, so that's not a good look for you at all.
It's a great look, man. We're talking about Zach Wilson.
Oof.
Being the future of the NFL, my friend.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
I mean, we're delusional as hell, but we're still talking about it.
My question is, as a Jets fan, why is it Jets over Giants?
It's just my dad was a Jets fan. He took me to Jets games when I was a kid, and that was pretty much so did I don't like Giants fans. Giants fans are assholes.
You heard it. You heard it here first. I don't know anything about Giants fans. I know a Jets fan personally now, so I'm a Jets fan too. I'm a Bengals fan first and foremost.
Of course, yeah, naturally. You're Icky Woods guy. You're a day one. You're a boomer guy.
But since I've been in New York, I don't have a football. Like I'm gonna go ahead and claim the Jets since I don't have a team.
Fair enough. Okay.
They're a fun, sad group of people to hang around with and just watch. The level of delusion is
much
fantastic.
like indie rap fans. So you'll fit right in.
Yeah, I mean, Jets fans are the type of like how like indie rap fans will be like, I can't believe that people like DMX more than they like Anticon.
Yeah,
like that's Jets fans. Like, what do you mean Tom Brady's the best? Chad Pennington led the team to the playoffs twice.
Some dude said something the other day. He was like, why do we always consider the best rappers ever? Like, why are they like popular like major label dudes? I'm like, because Ghostface is on a major label. Like, what do you want from me, dude? Like, who's wearing Ghostface? I said Ghostface was on a major. Prodigy was on a major. Jay, like, no one on Fat Beats is better than Ghost. Sorry, like, I get your point, but no, get out of here.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Absolutely agree with that.
Never gonna happen. But we're not gonna talk about Ghost. This is even though we do talk about Ghostface every single episode tonight, we are not gonna talk about Ghostface.
Well, we just did. We got it in there
briefly.
Yeah.
We're talking Def Comedy Jam with Donwill. So we just jump right in with this one. We have again Alaska behind the scenes, the incredible organizational skills to draft a syllabus every week on the topic.
It's really helpful to procrastinate on my schoolwork.
It's great. I'm glad your scholastics are suffering to
It's like 80 pages of reading, or can I put like 9 questions together on an email?
We all need a healthy distraction, man. I'm all for
It's
it.
important, man. Yeah.
This is great. So we're doing Def Comedy Jam. So we're gonna consult the syllabi, plural for syllabus, and then we might have hit some of the points already, just coming in hot off the gate, like talking about.
I think we hit sort of like talking points that I wanted us to get to, but there's more.
Yeah, I would say there's definitely still meat on the bones. You know what I'm saying?
A lot of meat on the bone,
we
yeah.
just kind of picked at the skin and poked it to make sure that it was done, but there's meat on the bone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there's a lot of meat on the bone.
All right, what's the first bullet point? We have chapter 1.
So I guess like the first one is like, when did you first see Def Comedy Jam? Like we were talking about earlier about people who never saw it before going to it for the first time, but what was it for you? Like the first time you saw it, and what were your, like, when I saw it, my mind was fucking blown. I was like already like a huge comedy fan. I was a huge Martin fan from like his time in like Kid and Play, and not Kid Play, House Party,
Right.
Seeing him on like other shows and stuff. But just sort of like seeing all these comedians who I'd never seen before that were just amazing. And like Kid Capri being there, like just the whole, like the two things I love, comedy and hip hop, put into one thing. It was just like, it was amazing.
Yeah. So before I answer this question, I just want to say Ghostface Good Times is one of the best songs ever recorded and never released.
Best verse.
What if the Bible wasn't good and good was bad and bad as it should? Like that, man. Like that is one of the most.
That's what the law would do.
Maybe they'll discover you. People see me, you didn't even on themselves. All right, whatever. My bad. I'm sorry. You said Ghostface, and I immediately thought of that.
Good for you.
But
went right to Good Times, man. What a cut. Great. Holy shit.
I mean, there's so many others that I could have picked, but Good Times is the one that I always think about.
You're off to a great start on the show. I'll be honest with you. You're just phenomenal work. Go ahead. Go on about Def Comedy shit.
But I want to say I watched bits and pieces of the first season, and I remember the first season. Mm-hmm. I was one of those comedy fans that I used to watch Robert Townsend Partners in Crime and shit like that. Yep. So again, I was already up on stand-up. Like I wasn't into Richard Pryor, mainly because it was my parents and the people I was around didn't push it on me. Eddie Murphy was the comedian who I like. That was my generation. Like who I was like, oh, Eddie Murphy, cool.
Yeah, that was my gateway as well.
I remember, so I was in love with Partners in Crime and all of that stuff and the sketches and all that. And when Def Comedy Jam came, I just remember feeling like what you said. It's just like, wait a minute, this is hip hop. It just felt like the same feeling I got when I saw like rap videos. It was that same kind of like, all right, so this is young people that are dressed cool. Because remember on Partners in Crime, it was a little bit. It was kind of like when Melly Mel and them had the suits and fucking leather pants on, and then Run DMC came with sneakers. It was that dynamic, literally, and it was Russell. It was just kind of like co-signed by Def Jam, so it just had. It felt really young and fresh and cool, like just from like a aesthetic standpoint. But the comedy itself, man, like so much of that stuff just became. It was just part of the lexicon immediately. You know what I'm saying? Like after the episode aired, people just started repeating it ad nauseum, circulating VHS tapes and all that shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, acting like Martin became a thing. Like,
oh my god!
Like a lot of like
holy
actors,
shit!
Doing Martin faces, Martin voices, even Martin like the way Martin moved, people were biting that shit.
Yeah, like all that. Yeah.
It's like, okay, I'll say this about Martin real quick before I get into my origin story. Was he like the young black Robin Williams? Where he was just so energetic with all of these voices and like body postures, and like there was nothing really like that. Only thing I can think of is Robin Williams.
So my question is, I don't know, because I'm trying to think. I don't think it's a bad comparison. I don't think it's an off comparison. I think that there's something there. I'm trying to remember. I would need to like be able to like figure out where he was in his career. This was like right after House Party.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Did he I don't know if he had a full stand-up special out yet.
I don't know if he had like
his special came
Talking Dirty After Dark.
Yeah.
Was that the first one, Talking Dirty After Dark?
Talking Dirty After Dark wasn't a special though. That was just like he had like a set in it.
Okay.
He didn't have like a full thing.
Okay.
Like, Talking Dirty After Dark was a bunch of comedians.
Yeah, I feel
yeah,
like
it was like a showcase. Right.
I feel like Def Comedy Jam kind of put him on the path to like having
Yeah.
the special. Like I might just be fabricating that a little bit because the
And I
special
think his special was actually a feature film. It was like released as a feature film.
Yep. It was. Okay, yeah. So I'm not tripping. And again, like Martin Lawrence, the TV show was the TV show concurrent with Def Comedy Jam, or was it before?
It might have been like concurrent with season 3, perhaps.
Because I remember
that's
Martin Lawrence, the theme song to the TV show had Martin Lawrence, like the Kid Capri snippet. So in my mind, I didn't do like a hard timeline Wikipedia thing because I didn't have enough time.
I'm looking now on IMDb. I'm an IMDb app opener.
Yeah. But in my mind, I was like, all right, so Martin was doing this, and this was kind of like a launch pad for all the other things we saw come of his career. But again, it was like you said, I remember Martin from House Party, and like while Martin had a significant role in House Party, he didn't have the most significant role. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so every time he would come on screen, it was just like it was electric. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And then to be able to like, oh, I can watch him do a thing on HBO. Absolutely. Like it had all the elements to make it just fucking catnip for me. I was locked in.
Okay, so he had his first special was You So Crazy.
That's right. That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
That's what it was. But it looks like Def Comedy Jam, he only hosted 20 episodes.
He did 3 seasons.
Isn't that crazy? So that was 92.
Yeah, the show premiered August 27th of 92. So I mean, basically within 6 months, I guess, from the premiere of Def Comedy Jam.
Got you.
That was March 92.
Okay. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. I was looking at his things incorrectly. Okay. So he was in Do the Right Thing, obviously, 89. House Parties, Bilal, classic, 90. The Kid and Play TV series. There you go, 1990, right?
Wait, there was like a live action or the cartoon?
It says voice. Cartoon, right? Yeah, so he played Wiz, the voice.
Okay,
I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that.
I remember the cartoon.
Okay, then Talking Dirty After Dark, 91. Okay. House Party 2, 91. Here it is. Boomerang, 92 also.
He was in Boomerang.
Yes. Yep. So, and then Martin started 92 also. So he had Def Comedy Jam, Martin, and Boomerang all the same year. That's incredible.
It's a monster year.
What a fucking year. Yeah.
God damn. Yes.
And you like that pretty much shows why he's cemented. Like he was just there was a year where it was just he was inescapable, and not only was he inescapable, he was fucking excelling at being fucking talented. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
So okay, so my intro to Def Comedy Jam. So I'm trying to think like, okay, so when I got into it, like before that, I think probably like the craziest comedian I saw was like Sam Kinison. You know what I mean? Where it's like, oh, like yeah, like that shit. You know what I mean? Smoking cigarettes. He was pretty wild, right? And then like I love comedy. I remember watching like Comedy Central when it was called like Comedy Channel, and like the first cable I ever had, and they would just have like clips of comedians like Dennis Miller or like fucking like Paula Poundstone or some shit. So then when you go from that world to like Sam Kinison, where you're like, oh, like he's kind of raunchy, to Def Comedy Jam, like Tracy Morgan and like Chris Tucker and Eddie Griffin. For me, it was something where I had like at that point, 92, I had all white friends. Everyone I knew was white, right? It was like our sleepover secret was to stay up to watch fucking Def Comedy Jam, right? That was the thing. That and CB4. Def Comedy Jam, CB4, or Boys in the Hood, or Menace. Like one of those was happening. That was like our ultimate rebellion, was to watch one of them. So if it was, I think it was on Friday nights, right? Def Comedy Jam was first on.
I believe
Friday
so.
or Saturday.
Yeah, it was a weekend.
Definitely a weekend thing.
Yes. So we would try to stay up and watch Def Comedy Jam live and not laugh so hard to wake up whose ever parents were in the house to watch that. But like feeling like you're seeing the future, and like Donwill said, and like this is our shit. This is like new, fresh, like everyone's young and like leather and like fucking baseball hats and Kid Capri yelling and like people jumping the fuck up like when certain beats came on. And it was like seeing that, and it's like, oh, like this is ours. Like this is for us now. This is not Bill Cosby or fucking like any like button up ass dude like Johnny Carson or some shit. Like this is for us. And so it became like for me, I only knew a couple of friends that were into it, but when we were into it, we were like, that's our thing. And that's like a secret amongst us. Like, we can only watch it when we have sleepovers and everyone's fucking in bed. Then we can put on Def Comedy Jam. So that was like the coolest. It was like, it was like a secret society.
Yeah, I can also say that it definitely was one of those things that, like, if my mom knew I was watching it, she was like, "What the? Turn that shit off!" Like, it was that, and that was even when Eddie Murphy Raw came out. I remember my sister's boyfriend at the time, like, got me the tape to watch it. It was definitely some shit where it's just like, "Don't tell your mom I got you this," because that shit was, again, like, when you. I don't know if I'm getting ahead of the syllabus, but when you, like, talk about the material itself, it was like a Too Short tape or something. It was like NWA. It was literally like this very adult conversation with profanity and with, like, it was like being able to hang out with your older cool cousins or some shit. It was so fire. Yeah.
It's funny you had I had a similar experience with Eddie Murphy, but it was the cassettes, the comedian cassette. And we got it when we were in school, and we would, like, bring a radio to school with us, and, like, during recess we'd go out and, like, far away from the school and just, like, sit around it, all of us just, like, playing it real low.
Yeah.
It's the best shit ever.
Real low.
You got to play the shit low. Like, I remember I had the one, what's the one with put the boogie in your butt?
Yeah.
Boogie in your butt, boogie. I remember I had that, and I would do the same shit in the house though. I would just have the speakers turned down to like 2 or 3 and just be sitting, like, my face fucking in front of it, like, and, like, giggling and shit. And when I would hear my mom come down, I would turn it off. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, you remember that this movie never gets talked about, Fear of a Black Hat?
Yes, Fear of a Black Hat, yeah.
Ice Froggy Frog and all that shit.
Yeah.
Like that was like it was acceptable because it was like a movie and it was like a joke making fun of all the gangster rapper tropes. Like, I feel like that was somehow, like, passable for some reason in my household, but, like, Doggy Style Murder was a case, like, Too Short, like, all that was, like, totally off the table. But, like, Fear of a Black Hat was like, oh yeah, it's not a big deal. You can check that out for Blockbuster.
They gave that good reviews in the New York Times, and it was at, like, the Angelica Film Center.
Yeah, I've never heard anybody say anything bad about that film. And, like, I remember I went back when the pandemic happened. I remember I was showing films on Twitch. I would do a film thing, like, I would DJ on one night and show films on one night, and I showed Fear of a Black Hat. And watching it, I watched CB4 too, but watching it, I remember being like, it didn't age terribly. Like, and a lot of the stuff in the 90s that we romanticize, and, like, we have this nostalgia around. I say this lovingly, even about what the show we're talking about. You gotta kind of observe it in a vacuum where we all got the fucking update. We know everything is different now.
Right.
But if when you watch it, you kind of got to watch it as, like, this time capsule of, like the world hadn't evolved in ways, and, like, things hadn't changed to the point where they are now. So yeah, it's some fucked up shit in there, and it's some shit in there that, like, nowadays absolutely wouldn't fly, but it was.
But I always like to keep in mind about that stuff.
Though. Like, it was everywhere. There. Like, that's the thing.
But, like, think about this too. In 92 or 93, whenever Fear of a Black Hat came out, we're the same distance away from that year and, like, 1962 for them. You know what I mean? It's like
exactly
92, look at 1962. Like, I didn't know shit. They were fucking a bunch of morons. They're disgusting. Like, we're fucking losers. And we're looking at 92 like, ugh, you guys are oof.
Right. So that means that in 2042, they're gonna be like, God, they're gonna be playing this podcast like, God damn, what?
These guys are loathsome. Oof. They're underdeveloped, undercooked. Alaska. So the syllabus. So we hit the origins. What do we have?
I think we kind of also talked about what made it so special. But
oh, hell yeah!
Like,
but no, I want to add this too about what made it so special.
Yeah, I got more meat on the bones. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Here it is. Ready?
Dig into that.
What I liked about it was, again, that show gave me and my friends. It introduced us to, like, snapping and, like, busting on people, and we would say cracking on you, busting on you. People call it dozens, all that. But, like, for us, it was like, oh, you can this is like a real thing. You could just like do this all the time, and everyone would try like outsmart each other. I remember like buying a book called like Snaps, where it was a whole bunch of them.
I remember
All the
Snaps.
mom jokes, and it like pictures of, like two guys, like one dude like baggy jeans on and like he like braids. And to me, it became like a whole industry of like how much can I make fun of my friends in public, and how much can they make, and how prepared. It was like going to a battle rap all the time. It was always like, I gotta have like these 5 on deck, because if he says like your mom is so fat, your mom's so stupid, you know, your sister's so blind, or your whatever it would be, like ready to go. And like Def Comedy Jam was like the beginning of me seeing like, oh, this is like a real thing. This isn't just something me and my friends do.
Yeah.
I mean, it was masterful crowd work through that whole thing.
Masterful. Yeah.
And there was one I was watching with Shucky Ducky, where there was a girl dressed in all orange, and he just walked out. He said, "Happy Halloween, baby." Like he just walked out.
yeah. Shake it, quack, quack.
That's the first thing he said. He's looked at "Happy Halloween, baby," like right off the rip. And everyone was just.
Speaking of a girl dressed in all orange, the thing that made it special for me, at least like going back and watching it, the fashion, man.
Incredible.
Just like looking at, because I skipped around through all the seasons, so I kind of took a tour through the whole 6-year arc.
What year was the last season? 98 then?
97.
Ooh,
Yeah,
that's
97,
different era.
It was
Totally
short.
different.
Yeah, it was short. But like there were, I remember like seeing like early on when it was just like comedians pretty much wearing pantsuits and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, and then you get to like the 96 where cats are coming out of fucking Spike's joint, bomber jackets and shit. And Martin coming out with like, I remember Martin, there was one episode where Martin came out with an all white Jordan outfit.
Yep.
And it looked like he had on Jordan khakis. Like, I don't know if I'm tripping, but the cut on the pants were not sweatpants cut. I'm like, does this motherfucker have on some fucking Jordan khakis? But
it's crazy.
It was just so.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say it was so fun watching the fashion shit. Yeah.
Yeah, I was taking note of Martin stuff in like the first 2 seasons, because he would come in like, and he would just be like all baggy clothes, but like with his pants pulled up to like his ribs, super tight belt. And then like the next
two
day,
pagers,
decked out in Nike Force gear, like the
whole
thing was like, oh, or like having like the like a Grambling sweatsuit on.
Yeah, like the fucking the HBCU shit with like the stitches on that Frankenstein looking shit.
Yes.
You reminded me of a question that I've been thinking about for the last month. When is the last time like you tucked in your shirt? I mean, like not even for like, not to get dressed up, but just for pleasure, just to like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I'm gonna kick back and tuck in this shirt and watch
quite honest.
Watch a good film.
Like sometimes have a t-shirt under a button down that's tucked in, but that's about as close as I get.
That's about it. I don't know why I was thinking about this, because this is just some shit I would think about. But I'm just like, maybe I should tuck in my shirt one day just to see how it feels.
It's a weird feeling, man.
Tuck it in I know, but then you gotta have
tucking in sweaters on Def Jam.
Yes.
Yeah, they tucked in all type of shit in the 90s, man. Yeah. Like it wasn't subject to just shirts with tails or fucking long tees. It was like, we're gonna tuck this fucking crew neck sweatshirt in my
and you gotta have a black leather belt with the shiny ass silver buckle. Like, you have to have that.
And the two sets of holes.
Yeah. I'm gonna tuck in a hoodie. I'm gonna be the first person to tuck in a hoodie.
There you go. Nice.
Tuck in a hoodie.
Yo, Kanye's he's gonna see you and he's gonna start doing that shit. It's gonna be the Yeezy tuck here at Gap. Yeezy tucks. That shit is crazy.
But you also had to have like the perfect slouch when you did it too. Like pull it out just right so it hung.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh my god, that's a great question. When's the last time you for leisure? That
is a great question. Yeah.
It's a Sunday afternoon. I'm gonna take a nap on the couch, tuck in my shirt first.
Tuck in my shirt. Oh.
Watch some documentaries, zone out.
You know what I'm saying? Classic documentary viewing fit right there.
Yeah, it's good looks right there. And then a lot of vests as well.
A lot of crazy vests.
Yeah,
vests were hot in the 90s. Like I don't think that.
I mean, I had a few of them.
I did not. Were you ever on Combat Jack show?
Yeah, I was.
So remember when they would. It was either like Dame Dash would fuck with him. I can't remember other people. They would always be like, "Oh, Reggie used to be in the fucking 90s wearing a vest with no shirt underneath."
Yeah. But again,
peace combat. Oh man.
Rest in peace, combat. That's some 90s shit though.
Yes.
I absolutely had a leather silky back vest, like the vest with a silk on the back and shit.
Oh, I had that. Yeah, I do that. I went to a school dance with a silk vest that had like billiard balls all over it, over top of a bum hoodie. Remember a bum?
Not you were futuristic.
No, I was starting in 5th grade with that. I was so proud. I went to a store called Gigolos. I got the vest over the black bum hoodie. Boom, the vest over top the hoodie.
You might have actually been like an honorary member of Shy at that point.
Yeah, like they didn't even. There's a clause in their contract that if a person wears that specific outfit, they get a cut of the royalties.
Yeah. Either that or I was in Portrait. I was in the R&B group Portrait.
Here we go again.
Here we go. I have the Shy 12-inch. I can't reach it right now. I have the If I Ever Fall in Love Again 12-inch. So on a break, I'll grab it.
The other wild fashion thing was when there was like celebs up in the balcony.
Oh man.
Like there was one with Run DMC, and they had on these hats that they looked like they were just like in Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah, it was like
they always bad hats. Celebrities always had the worst hats.
Always
the huge ball boy cap, like newsboy cap. The cap, it was like the size of Dumb Donald on fucking Fat Albert or some shit. Yeah. It was huge. I remember I watched the episode, it cycled up, and I just remember being like, why are they dressed like that?
Jam Master Jay still dressed like Jam Master Jay, but the other two dudes are like saving.
They were
Princess
lost in the
Toadstool.
world, bro. He had the Queen's drug dealer look cemented. They were like, nah, what about this goofy ass left eye hat? All right, throw it on. Let's put that on. They had that bad hat, and what's his name?
That was from the Pause video, I think.
Yep.
Oh,
Pause.
Yeah.
I saw someone else with a bad hat. It was a female, and I was waiting for them to get her for the hat, but I guess it was like in that year, so that they didn't fuck with her. I forget who it was, and I was like, really, with the hat? Like it was incredible. But if she would have sat in the front row with the hat, they would have roasted.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah. It must have been Rosie. No, it wasn't Rosie Perez. Oh, I forget who it was. Fuck, that's on the tip of my tongue. Yeah, the fashion is like, I didn't rewatch the later episodes. And wait, and when did DL Hewley take over as the host?
That must have been late. I don't even remember DL Hewley taking over.
It was like in the last 2 or 3 years, because I think I was trying to figure out when they moved it, because they eventually took it to LA, and I want to say like the last year or two of it was in LA. I couldn't figure out what season it moved to LA, but I think DL Hewley was right before the move, or I'm pretty sure he was right before the move.
Okay. Because they have him listed,
right? Because everybody that went on that show became an instant star,
right?
Everybody's like deals with Hollywood deals, I'm sure, instantly.
Yeah, like I'm looking at people with the most appearances, right? So you had Kid Capri, 21 episodes, most episodes. Mm-hmm. Martin, 20 episodes. All right. DL, 14 episodes. Joe Torre, 8. All right. So those are like the main people hosting, all right. But then you have Adele Givens. I mean, 7.
She had a ton, yeah.
But she kind of ran it. That was like her show. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then you have
her sets were incredible. Yeah.
Oh, they were great. You ready for this? This guy had 5. Ricky Harris.
Oh yeah.
Oh shit. Rest in peace, Ricky Harris. Yeah,
Ricky
man. Ricky Harris was amazing.
Oh, now ready for this one? Ricky Epps
Harris
had
is like
5.
the Tony Gwynn of that shit.
He was. Mike Epps had 5.
Wow.
And I remember seeing him next Friday, and I was always that's the dude from Talking Deaf Comedy Jam. What's his name? Michael. What's his name? Collier.
Michael Collier.
Oh yeah.
4. He did 4. Bill Bellamy.
I remember him from before Def Jam.
Oh, he was fucking certified.
Some run, yeah.
Yeah, and then you have Bill Bellamy with 3, and his were like the ones I loved the most. I loved him. This was me and my man O. Shouts to O. We're gonna have to have O on the show because he's a comedian. Me and O used to watch this guy's shit on DVD all the time. Arnez J.
Arnez J. Yo.
He did 3 episodes. Yeah. Arnez with the fucking the way he would move and do shit on. Oh my god! Like,
yep.
dude, it was the best. So everyone kind of had like, even like Earthquake had 3. Bernie Mac only had 2.
Bernie Mac
crazy
for his 2. He probably, for what I think, outside of the host, had the biggest impact.
Yeah,
I think
without question.
I mean, just like the I ain't scared of you motherfuckers. Like that shit lived outside of the outside of Def Comedy Jam. The ooh, nothing, what you doing? Ooh, like that became a song. Bernie Mac's impact from his 2 Def Comedy Jam appearances alone.
Monstrous.
Impeccable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I still have his take me out to the ball game stuck in my head from seeing it like 3 days ago.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, yep. You ready for this guy? He only had 2. Motherfucking hamburger. Alonzo
Jones.
All right, so this is the part where I have to say I need to look up where Hamburger is right now. I know he's on Instagram. If he does not have a fucking In-N-Out endorsement or something, I will be pissed. He deserves it. Hamburger needs his flowers or his burgers. He don't need flowers. He needs burgers.
He does need burgers. You know who said I did not remember it all?
A bouquet of burgers.
I did not remember JB Smooth's set.
I didn't either.
That set is amazing.
So he killed, because that was the thing. So
killed.
When I found it on Peacock, I found it like at 3:00 today, and I had other stuff to do, so I couldn't like sit with it. But I just kind of scrolled through each season, reading the names of people performing. I'm just like, JB Smooth. Like there were so many names that I just forgot were on that stage. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Dude, I pulled together a list of stars from the first 3 seasons. This is the first 3 seasons.
Okay.
Bill Bellamy, Joe Torre, Yvette Wilson, Steve White, Ricky Harris, Adele Givens, Bernie Mac, Steve Harvey, D.L. Hewley, Michael Collier, Tony Woods was always amazing.
Oh, I love Tony Woods.
Ronaldo Ray, who was Red's dad in Friday.
Wow.
Eddie Griffin.
Wow.
Hamburger, Chris Tucker, Cedric, Chocolate, Chappelle, Smooth, Flex, Anthony Johnson, Cheryl Underwood, Warren Hutchison, Chris Thomas, the former mayor of Rap City,
I love
Tracy Morgan, Faison Love, Artie Fuqua,
wow,
Ricky Smiley, and Arnez J. That was just
love
the
Ricky
first
Smiley,
3 seasons.
It's fucking crazy. Chris Tucker, you know, he actually tucked his shirt in. I want to just go ahead and acknowledge that. And he had on a leather vest. He looked like he had on like a Tupac Thug Life kind of outfit with the the Scullies with the little tie at the top.
Yes, yep.
He had that shit on. Yeah, the Tretch
He
cap.
also had the black Tims, which were like a special type of dude wore black Tims, especially when they tucked their pants into them.
Yep.
And Chris Tucker was one of those dudes.
Chris Tucker, it's funny seeing how like seeing the evolution and seeing where he landed. Like today, he's kind of like I don't know if it's still the same, but I remember he came back and did that special. It was kind of like mostly clean, and it was like almost like a religious. He's like a gospel comedian in a sense. But back then, it was just like, man, I was robbing the bank and somebody stole my car. You know, it's like motherfucker. And it was just like, it's just wild. You know, watching people's trajectory when you can look back like that, you know.
He's unbelievable. I found Hamburger on Instagram.
Nice.
Donwill, you really should offer your services to take over this account, my man. It's a rough account. It's got good bones, you know. It needs a total renovation. It's
what is his IG?
It is no. This is all one word, okay? Comedian Alonzo Hamburger Jones, all lowercase, all one word. It's a little rough.
That is a long ass name.
Comedian Alonzo Hamburger Jones. Like it's
wow.
Oh yeah,
17 posts. It's not cracking.
He's definitely beyond social media help. You know, I'll just say shout out to Hamburger. You know, like everybody run up his numbers. If you listen to this and you're a Hamburger fan, if you're not a Hamburger fan, I mean, you're one now. Go follow Hamburger.
You have to. Yeah, Hamburger had great sets.
He was the best, dude.
He did.
Even when I was thinking about him recently too when we were planning this episode, because I talked about one of our first episodes we did when SNL did the original catchphrase "Kings of Comedy" skit when they had Keenan do his setup called like Harold Beef Jelly Jones, where he just goes, "You ever come home
Jelly.
and catch your wife eating some dookie?" You'd be like, "Bitch, why'd you get all that dookie for? Beef jelly." Like,
Yeah, because the catchphrase comedian, like that's not, it's not a thing anymore.
no, but Hamburger post that on his IG of Keaton paying homage to him. One of his 17 posts is Dave Beef Jelly, whatever name Johnson
That's
from
amazing.
You know,
SNL. So he's aware.
the ultimate irony in all of this is that we live in an era where hashtags are everything. So like hamburger right now, if that shit was back then, it would go the fuck crazy.
How
Imagine
big would that be on TikTok?
it would
Oh
be
my
huge.
God, he would run TikTok. Same thing with my man Shucky Ducky. Same.
Shucky Ducky Quack
thing.
Quack,
And then
all that
when-
shit.
And then when Bobby Moynihan did when he did Slappy Pappy, when he goes, he's like, "Do you know what you do if a vampire's chasing you? You turn around and trip the bitch, Slappy Pappy, quack quack." But he had on the fucking box coat with the glasses, like he looked dead. Like
Bobby Moynihan might be one of the most underrated SNL cast members ever.
Absolutely. Bobby Moynihan is brilliant.
Oh, he's the
yeah.
best. He even did like the throwback joke when he goes, "You ever go to McDonald's at 11 a.m.?" You're like, "What do you mean I can't get an eggy McMuffin? It's 10:59. Slappy Pappy, quack quack." Like they always did that joke too about the fucking McDonald's breakfast.
Always, yeah.
That was a standard. You had to talk about the
Yeah.
McDonald's cutoff.
Yep.
Yeah. And why isn't the plane made out of the material for the black box?
Black box. Yeah, you
Classic
have to
trope.
throw
Those are classic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So was George Wallace ever on
that.
Def Comedy Jam?
He's listed. I'm looking through the entire IMDb. Oh, and I'm sorry. There was, I think the DL Hewley run was 2008. They brought it back.
Oh,
And I remember watching that and it just didn't, it was more just like a stand-up show. You can't really recapture 92 to 90.
Yeah, that was the all deaf digital, or it was like a rebrand, right?
Yeah. I remember like
Yeah.
it was like a
Was it
DVD.
Def Jam
and all.
25? That wasn't Def Jam 25.
That was like the separate one.
Okay.
That was not I don't remember enjoying it. I don't remember what
Yeah,
it
it
was.
was-
I just don't
it was
remember
fine.
it.
Like
It was on-
Patrice O'Neal was on it. Damon Wayans Jones.
Patrice O'Neal.
Tiffany Haddish was on it, which is kind of awesome.
Okay, wait, I'm confusing this with something else. I'm confusing this with some pandemic content. I did enjoy that. Yeah, you're right.
Okay. Yeah. So, but George was on it. I'm just not sure what iteration of the show.
If you're talking good Twitter follows, George Wallace
Oh,
might be one of the best.
Oh,
Phenomenal.
Yeah, phenomenal. George Wallace and Dionne Warwick, you just kind of can't go
Oh
wrong.
yeah, Emo Phillips as well is quite good.
Who?
Really? Emo Phillips?
Yeah, Emo
Oh.
Phillips is amazing.
Oh my God. All right. I'm following Emo. I
Yeah,
love
he-
Emo.
he'll
Shouts
just like
to
every now and again you'll
UHF.
find like the craziest thing pop up in your timeline, and you're just like, the man's a genius.
He is being followed right now.
Boom.
Yeah.
Yeah. And George, I always see other people retweet or like George Wallace, and I just never followed him. He was on fire during the Trump era. Oh my God.
Oh,
he
yeah,
would
he
just
really was.
flambe fucking Trump. I saw one he posted the other day where he said Radio Shack was smart as hell transitioning to shakes. Smart as He's the best, dude. Shouts to George. Still going, man. That fucking smile.
Oh
So
man.
did either of you guys watch the Fat Tuesday special on Amazon Prime?
I just got hip to it. Funny enough, when I put up that tweet about asking about Def Comedy Jam, a friend of mine, she was like, "Have you seen Fat Tuesday?" And I thought I had it confused with the movie Fat Beach. You remember the movie Fat Beach?
Yeah.
Yeah,
What was Steel from Juice?
Yeah. So I was
Yes.
like, and I responded to her like, yeah, it was a movie. It was like a comedy. It was like a movie. I think I saw it. She was like, no, it's a documentary about
That beach.
Fat Tuesday. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Fat. But how like Zilla's like
Yo, a Coolio vehicle. How could I ever forget?
It's a really good documentary. It's what made me want to dig back into Def Jam or Def Comedy Jam, but because it was something that ran like concurrently with Def Comedy
Right.
Jam, it was just on the West Coast, and it became this like wild thing. And it was like Joe Torre's brother put it together.
Guy Torre.
Guy Torre
Guy.
set it all up, and it was the same thing. Just basically everybody that went through Def Jam went through there as well.
Okay.
And
I gotta look.
it was something like nobody ever heard of. It got like It's not Caroline's, but it's like the one that Pauly Shore's mom owned.
Oh, fuck.
I want to say Catch a Rising Star, but that's probably not it either.
Yeah, it's one of those like
it wasn't
LA
the comedy store.
It might be the Comedy Store. Yeah, the Comedy Store. So
Yeah,
it was like
it was definitely a LA institution. Yeah,
they finally like ended it where there was like, you know, forever there was just like no black comedian names on the outside. There was like, you know, one or two, like Eddie Murphy, Richard Pryor. They finally like just basically made a whole wall for everybody that appeared on that show.
Oh, that's awesome.
So that's like sort of how it ends, but it's a wild documentary, like just the history that happened there. They said that Def Jam was inspired by this. I don't know, like timelines don't seem to check out, but you know, that's sort of what they said it came, but there's like wild beef between Joe Torre and Guy Torre.
Yo, tell me about this, man, because I love Joe Torre, dude.
Joe Torre's amazing, but Guy Torre's his little brother, and he became way more successful than him. So there's that dynamic at play.
So, okay, so let me ask you this. Was it because Joe obviously was in Poetic Justice and then hosted Def Comedy Jam, like taking over the mantle from Martin. What is Guy Torre's thing beyond? I guess he's more just a more working, respected comedian.
I don't know about like comedy. They're both sort of, I think, probably the same, but Guy Torre's loved, right? Like this Guy Torre, like everybody's like, he's just the nicest guy. He was like always the nicest guy. He was like welcoming to everybody. And the thing when you had mentioned the trans woman that was on Def Jam, there's a big part in there about like Guy giving, there's a trans woman comedian. I can't remember her name right now, something Flame, but
Flame Monroe.
Yeah, Flame Monroe. They talk about like him basically like giving her the opportunity to perform and just being like, you go out there, like this is your space as much as it's anybody's.
Damn.
But like he's just basically like everybody loved him. Like he's just a nice guy. And Joe is like a real sort of like testy personality, I guess. Like the personality on stage is the same personality. But Guy started like, he got like a lot of critical praise for his role in American History X.
Oh yeah.
And then he started going into production. And I think he just started banking much more than Joe.
Okay.
And like, it just became like the issue of like the younger brother becoming more successful in the world that the older brother was in that world first, was recognized first, and he got surpassed.
There's so many stories in I mean, I guess not stories, but whenever I see like Tony Rock, or you know what I'm saying, I think there's another Rock now performing, if I'm not mistaken. But when you look at the weigh-ins, when you look at
Neil Brennan, same thing, like his older brothers.
But who's his older brother?
I don't remember his name, but he has like two older brothers that were like comedians as well.
Oh shit!
Comedians.
It's just fascinating. It's fascinating when comedy is a family business, and like looking at the dynamic between those comedians, especially when there's like a level of success that one has achieved and the other one hasn't, and like seeing how they play that, like it's super fascinating. But you know, I guess that just comes with like, there's also like the baked in sort of like family dynamic that we don't really see or know about that kind of folds itself into that whole thing too.
Right.
Yeah. They had footage on stage just like going at each other. Like, you know,
it's I've seen that.
Friendly,
yep. No,
but they're just like they're going like for hurting. They're trying to hurt each other. Like you see, like, ooh. But then the real sort of like revelation in the whole thing is Snoop Dogg is funnier than everybody on the goddamn special. So like, you know, they have like all the talking head parts, and it's like him and Tiffany Haddish hanging out, and just the two of them hanging out is the funniest shit. Like they need their own show together. So Snoop Dogg is funny as fuck.
So you're saying that Snoop Dogg is good at yet another thing?
He's good at everything. Sure.
Yeah. Snoop is fucking like whatever he does it well enough to be successful at it. Like Snoop is amazing.
Like, but you just want to have conversations with him because you realize you're going to laugh the whole time.
The other thing is that it made me think about immediately is, have you guys seen it making the rounds that T.I. is doing stand up now?
I heard of it. I haven't seen the clip. My friend who is a comedian like posted something about it.
When I heard about it, I was like, let me go immediately investigate this. And there's a couple clips on YouTube of him actually doing this set, and it's not bad. It's just he's working out the kinks in delivery and working out the kinks and like, you know what I'm saying, like making it a battle tested in their rooms. It's just the fact that it's the spectacle of it being T.I. that's kind of keeping people from just kind of slowing down the development of it.
Mm.
But also, it's the Ti-ness of being Ti, where he's like, he was on a talk show with Godfrey did a podcast because the thing kind of boiled over when him and Godfrey had a little spat about Ti. Like it was about something with Ti performing. I don't recall the specifics, so I'm not gonna try to rehash it. But they were talking about they were just kind of like smoothing things over. And one of the guys on Godfrey's show was just like trying to offer Ti advice, like, hey man, it's kind of customary for when new comedians are starting out that they develop like 5 or 10 minutes of material, and you grow from there. Like you get 5, and that becomes 15, it becomes 20. And then Ti was like, so you trying to tell me you trying to slow my motherfucking progression, partner? Nah, fuck that. Ti, I do 30 minutes if I want to.
Wow.
And just don't say shit about what I'm doing. He just kind of became very agitated with the fact that, and dude was just like, look, man, I'm not trying to tell you how to run your thing at all. I'm just telling you that that's the way that the thing works. And that also may be a problem with some people, is because you're coming in rooms and you're taking a lion's share of a slot from other up and coming comedians based on the fact that you have this much material. He was like, I don't give a fuck. And it just became this thing where I was like, all right. Like T.I.'s bringing that sort of like that rap shit.
Yeah.
Like he's bringing an extra scoop of that. There's no humility in him doing it. The humility part is him eating shit in front of live audiences, because he absolutely is like getting clapter, like the whole like where people are like kind of clapping instead of laughing. He's also getting the thing where I won't say he's bombing, because it's hard for T.I. to bomb because people are just responding to it.
Sure. Because
of who he is, but it's definitely material. Like there are some jokes in there, and I'm not gonna be one to say like, oh, it's trash, but there are definitely jokes in there. I think that him working out the kinks is gonna be a little bit more difficult than somebody who's unknown, because people have a preconceived notion about what they're looking at. That was a whole aside. My bad.
Yeah, that makes a lot of.
That's a good aside.
I
mean, it's relevant as well because we're talking Def Jam.
True.
Why don't we take a quick break?
Sure.
And
drop
then
some rap shits.
Come back and talk about, some more Def Jam.
Boom. We'll be back. Call Out Culture with Donwill talking Def Comedy Jam. BRB.
What up, y'all? It's Panels, man. East Hampton Polar Boys. When the catalog out now, man. We got CDs, merch, all that. InsubordinateRecords.com, man. Make sure you don't sleep on it, because before you know it, it's going to be all gone. So make sure you head over there, stream it, do all that. Long live Lord Jones, man. Win the catalog, album of the year. You know what it is. Peace.
Hey yo, she caught me fly woo garments from overseas, Bolognese with extra palm, drown rotini, fresh panini, Brownsville, chopped garlic and olives, get demolished, fly air goddess, never modest, Perfect fill my palace, wires missing, acoustics hitting, needle bless the vinyl, been the champion, just give
It's
me
me.
a title.
Your friendly neighborhood podcast host, Alaska. And I'm here to tell you about an exciting new project that I just released with my friend Jason Griff. You might know Jason Griff from his many appearances on the Call Out Culture podcast, as well as his groundbreaking work with the Griff Scorsese Midnight Express album. Also, his solo project, Fireside Chats. You need a sweater and a bearskin rug for that one, fellas. Anyway, we just dropped a new record called Human Zoo. And Human Zoo examines the cages that we put around society and the self-imposed cages we put around ourselves. It features exciting tracks like Reboot, featuring Fat Boy Sharif, and Animal Farm, featuring Love Ulysses. We also have additional vocals from the likes of Alex Ludovico. Not Ludovico, Ludovico with a C. See what I'm saying there, people? And Prem Rock. And then the All Hook All the Time track, featuring vocal stylings from Curly Castro, Zilla Rocca, Def C, Rob Sonic, Breezely Bruin, and Open Mike Eagle. If you like the rap music, folks, you're gonna want to get this record. It's a must-have for every true aficionado, and you could get it at Insubordinate Records Alaska.
It's that time again, we're back. Career Crooks, me and Small Professor. New album, Never at Peace, available now worldwide, streaming on all platforms. Very, very, very limited pieces of merch left. You can scoop it at wreckingcrew.bandcamp.com. If you've heard the Live from the Liner Notes episode, you know what it is, you know what we're about. If you haven't, go back and peep it. Play the new record featuring Shrapnel, I Alive, and Donovan Days, Blueprint, DJ Manipulator, and that's all she wrote. New banger, me and Small Pro, Never at Peace, Career Crooks, available now.
The thing that bugged me out the most is like the shit that I remember about Def Jam, like the things like 30 years later that I haven't watched it in 30 years, you know, like since it came out. Were always like little moments, like just such little parts of the show that I'm like, that's the thing that stuck. Like that's the thing that me and my friends talked about for 10 years.
Yep.
You know, like just the weirdest little shit, like when Martin like walked. I don't know if you remember. There's like an episode where Spike Lee is there, and he's making fun.
Oh yeah,
of Spike, and
yeah,
he
does
he does the Spike Lee's walk, and I was like, that shit. It was such a little spot, but it was like the most dead-on impersonation of Spike Lee I've ever seen. It's just him walking like Spike Lee, or like there's another part. There's like a big fat, like a giant fat dude in the front.
oh my god,
And he's like, he's like, you feel you're gonna run? He's like, well, we all know you're not gonna run away, but like he just started walking away when the fat guy walked, and it was so on point. I was like, damn.
yeah. Or you remember with the girl he thinks she's deaf or whatever? He's like,
Oh,
Did
yeah.
you hear when I was? Oh my god.
Yeah. Do you hear the words that are coming out of it?
Jesus Christ.
Man, like Martin was so good at it, at like hosting that show, but part of it was because he was just a fearless sort of like crowd work person. Like he would just attack you. Not even like attack you not in a bad way, but you know what I'm saying? Just come on, like, what's going on with you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember watching Run Tell That and like being really excited for it. And I was like trying to trick myself, like the Cannabis album, where I was like, nah, it was like really good. You know, it was like, yeah. And then never really thinking about it or cared about it again. But I was like so excited at the time that there was just a new Martin special, and people were checking for it because it was Martin, but it was like, it just, I don't know what it was. Like even like I still haven't even seen like the new Bad Boys movie, even though I feel like I owe it to Martin to watch it. Bad Boys Forever, whatever it is.
Was Run Tell That the one with the water dripping all over your body?
See, I don't even remember.
I think that was
I don't even remember.
That's because I don't remember anything about Run Tell That, but that was He's So Crazy.
Okay.
Or You So Crazy.
Yeah. Run Tell That must not have been
It's
like
early
it wasn't very
early
good,
2000s.
the water running all. That was the shit that was great with Martin. Like just
What was the one where you would say
so
like
funny.
asking about the toothpaste? What's that one from? Remember that shit? Where he goes like, he's like, what? He's like, you ever go? It's like, you ever notice like as a black man, you walk in like, you know, a drugstore or whatever, and you're just by yourself, and you go, excuse me, man, you know, can you tell me where the toothpaste is? And he's like, they always give you attitude, like, well, if you just look at the fucking side, it's right fucking here. It says it, toothpaste, aisle 9, toothpaste. Now, like, he's like, but then if you walk over to a bunch of black dudes, be like, yo, man, you got any toothpaste? Yeah, right over here. I can show you to you. It's do you like fluoride? Do you like cavity prevention? Which one do you want? You know, you tell me. Like, I forget what that was from. He's
so good.
Talking about how condescending white people are at the pharmacy. I was like, oh my god.
I'm gonna have to revisit Run Tell That. I'm gonna just have to revisit his whole thing, because
His whole thing, right?
I feel like watching Def Comedy Jam made me remember, like, oh, Martin was on fire. You know what I'm saying? Like,
force of nature, man.
and even the show was one of those things, like I've seen it so many times, I just don't watch it. It just kind of like,
Right.
It just, I watch it in the same way I watch Seinfeld. Like it's just
Right.
on when it's on. You know what I'm saying? I'm not intentionally watching it. So I think it would be a fun exercise. And the other thing about the Martin show too was like the music performances.
Yeah.
Oh,
Fucking Biggie, fucking Bone, like all that shit that was happening. Yeah.
Dude, and I mean, I don't know. I only remember this because I was a big fan of Real Geniuses. But the dude that worked at the radio station,
that dude
who played Uncle Rico in
yeah, Napoleon Dynamite. That
Yeah.
dude.
But he was also like I don't know if you ever saw Real Geniuses with Val Kilmer.
Yeah, but way early 80s joint.
He was like the weirdo genius that they were trying to find.
Oh, that movie.
I can't remember his name, but it was like,
yeah, he's been in a million fucking movies.
Yeah, but he wasn't around, like basically from like Real Geniuses to Martin, like he wasn't really around.
No. Yeah, Run Tell That came out, and ready for this? 2002. It made 20 million at the box office.
Yeah,
for just a special.
I remember people were into it. I know people went to see it.
Yeah, I just remember he had like this leather. He wore like this whole leather suit, you know, like almost like a baseball jersey. That's all I remember about it.
So the other thing that when we were talking about the chronology of the show, like I want to say around 95 was the year for me when I stopped watching it because I went to college and I didn't have cable. So it was that thing where there was definitely like cable was a treat. I remember my freshman year I had cable. It was my freshman or sophomore year. There's just a cultural black hole that happened for me.
Yeah,
like in the late 90s because it was just I was in my mom's basement. I had cable. Then one day I was fucking in a dormitory and there was no cable anymore.
Right.
And it's
I had the opposite. We had cable in the dorms, but when I moved off campus, I didn't have.
Yeah. So when we moved off campus, we made sure to get cable. I don't know how the fuck we pulled our money together, whatever we did, but we had cable for the 3 years that we lived in, 2 or 3 years we lived in this apartment, and it was also our apartment was also kind of like the party house in a way where everybody would come hang out. So we had to have entertainment shit like that.
Now let me ask you this: for cable owners, did you guys pay for the fucking chip? You know, we called it the chip.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
Where when you get the cable installed, you give the fucking guy $50 and he puts the thing on, and you get all the fucking movie channels for free. You get everything for free.
Now
all of my friends who had cable had the chip, so we would watch all the movie channels for free every day, HBO. And then what they would do though is, anytime there was like a Tyson fight or like a big fight, they would send out a thing called a bullet, where it would scramble the chip, so you couldn't watch the Tyson fight or the Riddick Bowe fight because they would be scrambled because they would send out a transmission to fuck with the chip.
So wait, that's the real 5G. That's the real, like, you know what I'm saying? When people were like, we're gonna get the chips and the 5Gs. That was
it. So you had the chip, but like I remember watching like the Tyson and McNeely fight on my man's box. He had the chip and they hit us with a bullet.
Fight.
So we had to go to someone else's house down the street, but it was all scrambled too, so we could just hear the fight, but it lasted 30 fucking seconds.
Remember when people thought McNeely was going to be the Great White Hope?
Yeah, like that was a joke, but that was. I'm just saying, like the only reason I was able to watch any of the Def Jam shit was because all my friends had the cable, the chip in the cable box. I didn't have it. My mom didn't pay for HBO.
Shout out to the chip. Shout out to. Did you have the? Remember the cable? The cable boxes had it was just a rectangle. It was a cube with a long ass wire attached to the TV.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I just had a flashback to that. Yeah.
So are either of you old enough to remember when the cable box had like push buttons on it? So it was like a dial, and then you would push the different channels, and then you could flip the knob like off with channel 3 to 2. Yeah. Like you could kind of watch Cinemax or the movie channel.
Oh yeah.
I'm so happy that we're old enough to remember this. Like it's almost like that.
It makes you appreciate some stuff, right?
Yeah, it does. It does. Like to think about how much technology we live through. I can now use my telephone as a remote control for my television.
Yeah. Right.
To go from the contraption you just described, like with the wires and channel flipping the knobs, and just.
Dog, I got Xfinity. I talk to that motherfucker. I'm like, yo, Sixers game. Put the Sixers on. I don't know what channels anything is on. I just talking to that bitch.
So again, when we talk about Def Comedy Jam and we talk about how it has aged, some of it has aged kind of poorly. Everything aged poorly from that era, man. Like even the technology itself that we were watching TV on literally aged poorly. So we open the time capsule.
Long boxes.
Long boxes. Wow. All that fucking paper packaging for nothing.
Yeah, but that was great, like great free posters. I used to make tons of those shits all over my wall.
I think that this might be me just drawing conclusions in my mind, but I think that the long boxes were produced because they were retrofitting the record store display
Yes,
to
they were,
fit a
yeah.
CD,
Good call.
so it had to be tall enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
Were it 12 inches? What you mean?
Yeah. So like, you
so
know,
like because they replaced vinyl.
Same thing
Yeah.
with the cassettes. They put them in the big ass. It was
The
like
big
it
ass
almost
plastic.
looked like almost like a 6-pack, but it was a hard
Yeah.
plastic. Yeah.
I like how you related it to beer.
Well, sure. Now I'm drinking Waterloo Black Cherry Sparkling Water. You can't always take it water now. But I gotta work tomorrow. Listeners, check it out, Zilla Rocca. Listen, as a shorty, I was playing in the front yard of the crib and I fell down and I bumped my head. And then somebody helped me up and asked me if I bumped my head, and I said, yeah. So then they said, oh, so that means we gonna switch it up on them. And I said, yeah, Andrew is the greatest. And known as a shorty, I was always told that if I ain't gonna be part of the greatest, I gotta align with the greatest myself. And that's Andrew. The Rain Knows What Is Doing album available now. Cassettes are sold out, but we got CDs, beanies, dad hats, mugs. It's cracking. $3pistol.com for fans of Beck, Evidence, Buck 65, Daptone Records. If you're with it, spread love. People want the wild shit, we're gonna give you some more. Andrew, The Rain Knows What It's Doing, available now. We're back. Co-out culture. I don't know when the breaks are gonna be on this episode. We're having a fucking great time. Donwill, first time guest. He's knocking it out of the park. He's giving me a solid 30 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, no turnovers. Yeah. Give me 60 fantasy points tonight. I'm loving it.
It's like your starting quarterback went down, and suddenly you're like, oh, maybe we actually have our quarterback of the future here.
Footsketball.
You know, exactly.
All American footsketball pro.
Basketball returns on Fox this fall. Shouts to that. You guys ever fuck with XFL? Did you watch that shit back?
Oh shit! Wait, you said basketball?
Yeah.
Wow, I do remember that.
Basketball.
Do you remember? Like they had like so many like weird ass sports that like came and went. You know what I'm saying? Like
I'm talking about the movie Basketball.
Oh yeah, basketball. Yeah.
With the fucking South Park dudes. But I'm talking about the XFL too. You remember the XFL?
That's what I was talking about.
Then they were like, these guys aren't like rich fucking whiny athletes. They only make money if they win. And I was like, that's fucked up. Like, what do you mean they only make money if they win? Stupid as shit.
But they got to put whatever they wanted on the back of their jersey. So
yeah, it was like they're not like these spoiled athletes with just their last name. They could put anything on the back of the jersey on Fox.
What was one of the wildest names that you guys remember? From
fucking He Hate Me, Rod Smart.
I do remember He Hate Me.
Because they asked him, they're like, what do you mean? He's like, look at the other team, man. Look at him. He hate me, man. Like that was
in the NFL though, like having a career.
Did he? He did. Yeah, he became a kick returner.
Dumb question, really dumb question. That's where Spike Lee got the name of the movie.
Correct.
She Hate Me from, right?
She Hate Me. Yes.
Yeah.
The worst Anthony Mackie performance in film history. It's really bad in that movie.
It's a pretty bad movie, yeah, from what I remember. Yeah.
He was just, it was like watching like someone's cousin get promoted to supervisor and only been at the job 3 weeks. You're like, ooh, this is gonna be rough. And then it's over. You're like, dude, that was gonna happen. The fucking company folded. It's like giving Anthony Mackie that job. He was like an 8 Mile for 10 minutes. Like, oh, he's gonna be a star. I'm like, what?
Who's he in 8 Mile?
Papa Doc.
He was at Papa Doc.
He just stood there. Right? Nothing happened. He just stood there. Nothing happened. It was like, I am a piece of shit. I am a fucking bum. I do live in a trailer with my mom. And he just gives him the mic. Tell these people something they don't know about me. Whoop. And then Anthony Mackie just stands there holding the mic. Nothing happens. And they were like, he's a star. He's a fucking make him Falcon.
That was Anthony Mackie.
Yeah. Give him everything. Put him in Marvel. God damn it. No, that was fucking weird. So anyway, when we were on our break, we talk a lot about Martin.
Yeah, we'll just incorporate that into the episode.
Sure. The Martin Lawrence / Def Comedy Jam expose. And we talked about Bernie, which is great. We talked about her briefly. Adele Givens, right?
Adele Givens.
Adele Givens was amazing.
Isn't it kind of weird that I haven't really seen her in much else? All things considered.
She's a stand-up, man. I think she's just like pure stand-up. Man.
Yeah, I think she's one of those comics that is just like she just enjoys the art. The art, like the telling jokes in front of a crowd, and like that's kind of her jam. And film and TV, probably, I don't know. This is me like speaking hypothetical or like assuming, but it just probably was a world that she just was like, nah, I'm good. Because you gotta be. That's some shit you gotta be kind of wired for to really excel in it.
Yeah.
I mean, her IG's popping. She got 80,000 followers.
Oh shit! Let me.
She does not need our assistance, and she posted today or yesterday for Happy International Women's Day. So she's got some funny. She's got some good memes going. She got a lot of positive, text popping up. She still got that big ass smile. She's thriving out here. Shouts to Adele.
She's killing it. You know who was really good, and I don't remember her name, unfortunately, but she was the woman that played Felicia in Fridays.
Oh God.
She was funny.
She was awesome. Did she have like a hat on also?
No, she didn't.
She did not wear a hat.
She had she's had her hair out, but what is her name?
I'm gonna look up Friday.
Angela Means.
Oh my God.
Angela Means. Yeah. So I didn't.
Phenomenal.
I saw her set up there, and I didn't watch it. Like I was just trying to scrolling through the tiles, trying to remember. It was, yeah. You know who else was had an interesting set? Why am I losing his name right now? What is his brother man from the 5th floor? Broke up a fight holding the baby.
Yeah, Hustle Man.
What is his name though? What is his name?
Oh my God.
Tracy Morgan. How can I forget Tracy Morgan?
Right. Yeah.
God,
he was
like,
he took his shirt off. He had his belly out.
He was like
adobo.
Dude, he was like basically Old Dirty. Like he was crazy on stage, wasn't he?
That is the literal comparison that I was gonna make.
Like he's Ason unique. Like he's Ason.
He came in. He was on the stage with Crown Fried Chicken at 3 a.m. energy. You know what I'm saying? Like that motherfucker was. He was like you've absolutely seen that person or been around that person if you're just out and like I was getting some jerk chicken today and a guy walked in and he was just it was just me and him and he was talking to whoever, maybe me, I don't know, but the energy he had was basically Tracy Morgan on stage where I was like, is he about to fucking like start jonesing on me or something? Like what's happening? Because it's that kind of like frantic energy.
It's like dangerous. You're like, I kind of want to see what happens next, but I kind of want to get the fuck out of here. This guy's like making me nervous.
Yeah, exactly.
But if I stay, I'm gonna get a great story out of this shit. This guy's wild.
He's bugging out. Yeah.
I'm trying to think when I saw him in. I think he went right from to SNL. Well, I mean, a couple of years in between, right? But I didn't see him in much else.
I mean, because I think he said when he was on Def Jam, he was only doing comedy for like a year at that point.
And you know what? Funny enough, like it showed. You could definitely see there was definitely a thing there that was developing, but the rawness of it, like you said, it was literally, it just felt like a dude that just walked in from wherever the fuck he was at and just started telling jokes and then went back home. Like he was getting his act together, but man, you could see it developing, right, crystallizing right there.
I brought him up early, but JB Smooth set. There's a moment in his set where he talks about like
I don't remember him
having roaches and rats, and he's like, the only thing worse than that is the sticky glue traps. And he talks about how sticky they are. That the only thing that's ever on him is Doritos and nickels. But it's like I came in the other day and there was a robber stuck to it, and he just gets on the floor and is like pretending he's stuck to a glue trap. It's like 30 seconds of the best physical comedy I've ever seen in my life.
He's amazing, dude.
Amazing.
JB was he's another one. Like me and my man would watch him and Arnez J, like all of those dudes in like the post Def Jam world were just working. And then it's interesting, to see him like catch on like doing fucking Caesars sports betting commercials and Larry David.
Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yeah, like he's but it's like there's no real rhyme or reason as to how, because he was just getting busy, like just doing what he wanted to do. But I knew him, in 2002 more than I did anyone else when he was on Curb. Because when he was on Curb, I'm like, oh shit, that's fucking JB Smooth on Curb. Yeah. And now it's been like 10 years of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They talk about him a lot in the Fat Tuesday documentary about how he was just like a monster on that stage. And they have a couple really funny clips of him just like doing amazing physical comedy.
Yeah, I gotta check that too. I'm gonna probably watch that, if not tonight, like tomorrow.
Yeah, it's like a 4-part, like 1 hour episode each documentary.
Another thing that's not really specific to one comedian, but a thing I noticed a lot of comedians doing is like they would dance before their sets.
Yes.
It was almost like a celebratory thing, or just like giving Kid Capri a minute to like shine. I don't know what the fuck it was, but they would just fucking get busy. Like I saw one comedian, I forget his name. He came out and just did a full maybe 1 minute routine, fucking broke down in the splits and got up and was like, I'm ready for y'all.
Episode last night, yeah.
And it's just like, what the fuck am I looking at? That's wild. But so
wow.
They were like the last comedian I saw right before I had to stop watching it. Don't remember his name. He was from Miami, and he had his big opening bit was about how like women overlook ugly men, and ugly men fuck better than attractive men. That was kind of like his whole premise that he set up. And he was like, because ugly men will eat the pussy. Because again, remember, nobody was eating pussy in the 90s. We'll eat the pussy. So when y'all pretty dudes are calling a woman up, and I call up right after, she gonna want to hang out with me because you want to show her a good time. I'm gonna show her the world. That was his thing. That was his whole bit. So the last 3 minutes of his set, he took off his pants and jacket to reveal a sequin skirt and a blouse, like a sequin jacket. He danced in that. Then he was like, "Oh, wait a minute, I got something else for y'all." Took that off and had on like a pair of thongs, and was like dancing. And he's like, "I got something else," and took that off and had like a thongier thong on, like a fucking and like turned around and twerked. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Is like, it's not even a joke. God. You're just like dancing. What are you doing?
It's amazing.
It's funny. Like that type of shit. I remember thinking, as a kid, I'm like, why are all these comedians coming out saying, "How y'all doing? Come on, y'all make some. How y'all doing?" It was like you couldn't tell a joke until it was like, "How y'all doing?" And it was like, but then people were like, "Ah," and then they started roasting people. But then at the end, it's like, if you could do extreme shit with like taking your clothes off or like showing your stomach or doing something outlandish, it's like the next person walked into that shit, and then now they're like, "Oh, okay, we're doing fucking great." Like, we're already doing awesome. They still like, "How the fuck y'all doing? Come on in." Everyone's like, "Ah," it's like you can see it build.
And a funny story about even that, like this, the infamous Bernie Mac, "I ain't scared of you motherfuckers" thing.
Mm-hmm.
I went down a little YouTube rabbit hole, and they were saying that so the shows that aired as they aired, they weren't filmed in that order. Like the set lists were different. And a lot of times they would just kind of like restructure them in post. The Bernie Mac thing happened because "I ain't scared of you motherfuckers" shit happened because the comedian before him bombed so bad that the crowd was just like, they cut it. They cut the whoever it was. They didn't air it because he bombed. And Bernie just came out like, "I ain't scared of you motherfuckers. Kick it." He kept doing it. But the other thing was that him and Kid, they had a Def Comedy Jam tour where him and Kid Capri kind of had that routine worked out. So Bernie had that in his back pocket. The "kick it," like Kid Capri was ready, but like the "I ain't scared of you motherfuckers" shit was not planned so much as Bernie was just like, "I ain't scared of you motherfuckers. I'm gonna make you laugh," kind of. So it's just like you get that. But like when they put it in post and you have like people killing back to back, you don't really understand the context of that. It just makes it gives the set this kind of like weird glue. But I bet you if you were in that room when they filmed it, just watching somebody bomb and then Bernie coming out and fucking turning the house upside down like that,
he definitely had his shirt tucked in. The shirt was tucked in during that set.
And he had he had himself
airbrush jeans.
Talk about it. Talk about the fucking fashion.
I ain't scared of you motherfuckers. I'm gonna tell you something straight off the motherfucking press. I ain't coming for no foolishness. In New York, goddammit, y'all motherfucking women look good. Y'all like a bacon and egg sandwich, look good. But I love sex. I love it. Can't do shit no more. And I'm blessed. I'm big boned. I'm heavy structured. I'm hung low. If I pull my shit out, this whole room get dark. Kick it! You don't understand. I ain't scared of you motherfuckers.
A story, Don, because they bring that up again in Fat Tuesday, right? At the filming, Chris Tucker went on first. And they were like, he tore the house down. Like, that first set he ever did, nobody ever knew who the fuck he was. He came in and he killed. Then that guy went on and bombed.
Yeah.
And Chris Tucker was like, I'm gonna be a star. Like, I'm gonna be the biggest thing in the world. And then he's talking about it, and then he's like, and then Bernie went on. I was like, what the fuck? Like, he just like lost his mind because he was like, I thought I owned the night. And then Bernie came on and just ran me off the stage.
Destroyed it.
You know, I'm thinking about as we're talking about this shit, like how to process Def Comedy Jam, you know, in the hip hop world that we've you know inhabited all of our lives. It felt like Def Comedy Jam was like the mixtape game. It was like DJ Clue, DJ Drama, DJ Who Kid. It felt like you knowing about all this wild, incredible shit that wasn't for everyone else, but all of those people could blow the fuck up and then become everything. You know what I mean? But you were kind of just like checking and watching. Like I remember when Chris Tucker did that, you know, with the knit hat, you know, and seeing that. And then even Eddie Griffin doing like the Michael Jackson dance, what he would do all the time. Yeah. Like, you know, Martin, all these things. It was like hearing like 50 Cent is the future, or hearing like DJ Clue for President, or like Live 95, like these classic fucking like DJ Mr. C Best of Biggie. It was like hearing that being like, yo, when the rest of you dickheads go to the record store just to buy a single or a CD, I got this next wild shit that's like the best thing out, and only people like me know what this is.
Right, because it's almost like you had to know about it to enjoy it. Because the other thing too is that, you know, it's on HBO, it's late night. It's not like a bunch of, I mean, it was definitely like very watched and very viewed and shit, but there was also a market where like, I remember getting some of that shit on VHS because again, there was a point where I didn't have cable, right. So it was like the homies would drive up to see me. And it's like, yo, man, bring Def Comedy Jam when you come through. Bring new episodes through on cassette and you watching them. So like the mixtape thing directly applies because I remember seeing some of it like that.
Yeah, it's like, and remember like HBO would do that shit before in the 80s. The comedy specials, it would be like Robin Williams, Whoopi Goldberg, Billy Crystal. Remember them shits?
What yeah.
It's like a charity.
Comic Relief.
Comic Relief. And they would have like everybody, like Martin Short would come through, and like fucking Roseanne or like Steve Martin, and then they would like do bits on stage together, and like Robin would say wild shit, and then like Whoopi would be in the audience. Like that felt like very like by the seat of their pants, even though that was like a whole production. But again, that's like America loves Whoopi, America loves Robin Williams and Billy Crystal. So even it's on HBO and they could curse a little bit, it was still like safe. You know what I mean? It wasn't like really, really reckless. That can't compare with, like you said, the Crown Fried Chicken 3 a.m. energy. Tracy Morgan. Like even when he was on 30 Rock, it was like that. You know what I mean? It was like, you know what the fuck this guy's gonna do at any time.
And you know, like it just felt like hip hop, like the energy of the room, the energy of the performances, just the way everybody kind of articulated the thoughts. Like, sure, the jokes were fully formed, but you had to acquiesce to the room. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sure those comedians could have gotten to another room and just kind of straightened their act up a little bit for that, or like kind of like shifted their act to make those people laugh. But that was like, if you look at the audience itself, we were like people who were interested in the same things we are, people who were like listening to fucking the same music, who were into sneakers and the sports and all the shit we were into at that moment were seated in that room. So like when you're looking at the comedians telling jokes and they give shots at the crowd, usually when you see shots at comedy shows, it's not young, cool folks. You know what I'm saying? It's always just kind of like mom and dad's night out, or you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that absolutely, for me anyway, like watching back, that kind of resonated with me differently, where I remember, you know, like I was saying, I was into their fashions and stuff, but I also was just looking at the audience like, wow, this was us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It was some renegade shit. Like, cause I've been watching, like, I wanted to be a comedian growing up. So I'd been watching like stand up from the time I was like 10. Like I would stay up every single night, watch A&E at the Improv, like all that shit. And there was nothing like this. Like I feel like if you just drop somebody into this that didn't know anything about the world, they'd be like, what the fuck is happening here? This is like, because some of the acts were just like raw. Like they didn't even really have acts. They were just like, I'm going to be a personality and I'm going to make fun of some people in the crowd and then talk about gay people for a little bit.
What's the guy's name? Doo Brown.
Oh,
my
yeah.
God.
My girl can't even ride with me. That dude, like, he came when you said character, he came out in like the full brown jumpsuit, holding a sweatsuit, holding a 40.
Oh
Like,
my God.
I immediately just was like, I remember watching back his set, and I remember that my girl can't even ride with me. I did a lot of when I was cruising back through it, a lot of the things I would like watch a couple of minutes, not the whole set, just for the sake of like just getting the flavor. But I don't remember how his set ended. I just remember thinking like, oh yeah, this guy was just kind of like, I don't know what he did beyond that, but that was kind of like the whole thing was that character.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of people that just were sort of like, I'm like almost like they won a contest.
And well, and that was the thing too. Like as time went on with it, like, and I remember this distinctly. I remember when Joe Torre took on the hosting duties, right? So this is like season whatever 3 or 4 or something. And by that point, it was like, okay, like this is the place now to go for this type of thing, and like these type of acts will be there, and you're gonna hear these kind of jokes cracking on people. And Joe, I remember he was more like Martin again, like we said, just force of nature, just like pure electricity. Joe was more like, oh, this is the shit now. I'm gonna like let you know, like, don't fuck with me. Like, this is my shit, right? And he was more like combative, which I liked because he just didn't give a fuck. But then I remember like the comedians coming on, it was more like they kind of knew what it was by this point to be like, okay, I'm either gonna go so heavy into the caricature of like the way over the top catchphrasey, one trick pony comedy to make it, or I just felt like when you listed off all those names of the people in the first 2 seasons, that's like the last 30 years of fucking everything, like MTV, Hollywood, like that's from Bill Bellamy to Chris Tucker. I mean, like that's everything. So like once you kind of pick all of that talent out and those people start seeing every one of those people get jobs, or Martin, like we said, get a show and then be in Boomerang and get a special. It's like, I feel like everyone started looking at it like when we talked last week with Yak Balls about Raucous, it was like, we saw in the Kanye documentary, like by 2001, 2002, Kanye's like, man, if I can get a deal on Raucous, like that would be fucking swell. And they're looking at him like, well, you just helped us sell Talib Kweli, but that was a far cry from like company flow days of Raucous. You know what I mean? So I just felt like
almost like the Real World too, right? Like the first couple seasons of the Real World, it was like an interesting show, and then it was like, I know how to get camera time now.
Yes, now it's like I'm gonna be like the combative lesbian. I'm gonna be like the drunk punk guy. I'm gonna be the hot,
the white person that learns about racism.
And there's also that thing where it's the show itself was hot, so it's like it's this vehicle where he's like he's getting into a moving car that's going 80 miles per hour, like so he has to be like, all right, I can't pull a hard left. I'm just gonna lean harder into because Martin is the way Martin would kind of. It would be vicious and savage, but he was like, "You my mother, I love you."
Yes, it was from a place of love almost.
Yeah, Joe Torre would just cut you. It would just cut.
He was a fucking bully. You know what I mean? He was a fucking bully. You know what I mean? He looked like one too. The way he would stand there and he was like swole a little bit. And he had that kind of like sly smile, but he was like, "Don't fuck with me. Don't do that."
I saw 2 of his hosting bits. There was one where he took a woman's shoe and. Like he took her shoe and took her sock and like did some kind of thing about sucking her toes, about how she has suckable feet. He was like, he would come back out during the set with her boot, like he never gave her shoe back. And I'm just thinking as like a person at a comedy show, like I would be pissed if this nigga's walking backstage with my boot for like fucking an hour and a half during a tape and like give me my shit back. But so like there was that, and then there was another one where he sat on a woman's lap and he was asking her like. He was trying to make her like say something, like give a shout out to somebody, and she just was literally not. She just didn't want to like be a part of whatever bit. It went on for. It didn't get uncomfortable, but it was kind of just like, all right, just there's a whole other crowd you can work on.
Yes,
you've kind of squeezed all the juice out of this thing. Go to another person, and that was the other point that I think across the board. The thing about the comedy, the thing about Def Comedy Jam is that the crowd was very much a part of everybody's act, and they would come out and do like the crowd work was like laser focused. Everybody for the most part, and especially with the host. And I think that painted that colored my experience early on, where I was like, if you go to comedy shows, don't sit in the front row; they're gonna pick on you.
Yes.
Yeah. Whereas now you go to alternative rooms or whatever, you go to other rooms, other alternative spaces, like not club comedy spaces. They're gentle, like like the crowd work is always like it's typically gentle, unless you go to like fucking Comedy Cellar or something, you get cussed out.
They're gonna be like, sir, in the front of the glasses, how do you feel about global warming?
Exactly.
Literally that. Look at his nerdy ass Poindexter ass mother, F-bomb. Like, what, you know what I mean? Like, it's just not gonna get flayed in front of your girl. Oh my god, that ain't happening. Oh my god.
So I think we kind of ran through everything, right?
This is incredible. This is Yalman's work. Yalman? Yaman? How do you say it? Yalman?
So actually, there's something I wanted to bring up.
Oh, what's up?
So I don't know, like if you ever watch like documentaries about like the Tonight Show or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
There was always like the conversation, like somebody like comedians used to be like, I could go on the Tonight Show, and if this works, I'm a star.
Right.
Like instantly. I think Def Jam was exactly like that. And it's like the last time I remember there being something like that, where it's like people became stars overnight off of Def Jam.
Yeah.
Like I'd never seen anything like that in my lifetime.
And now that you mention it, I can't think of anything after that served that purpose like that. Like I don't. There has to have been another pure stand-up comedy show that like showcased comedians. Comic View, but I don't know if people became. I don't know if Comic View had this like meteoric trajectory.
Yeah, you know what it was? I felt like I would give people a shot on Comic View if I had seen them on Def Comedy Jam.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like a feeder system.
Def Comedy Jam was like a stamp like no other. Comic View absolutely has some dope people on there. Comic View, I would have to like
Bruce.
Double back.
Bruce.
I would have to double back, but I just remember the way that I remember Def Comedy Jam after looking at it was just like, this was the launch pad for so many people, and like
so many people.
Even if they like Adele Gibbons, even if she chose to just not be in TV and film, she's absolutely still fucking doing shows, killing it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Real quick, just thinking of Comic View. There's this joke I always remember Bruce said one time. It was like one of the bigger specials they did. And he was like telling his jokes, whatever, and get everybody, he had the fucking like blue suit on and the fucking hair slicked back and doing his thing. And there was like the middle of his set in between acts, like some white usher was helping some lady get seated, like right in the middle of his shit. He's like, oh, right. And he's like, he's just talking. He just starts making fun of the usher, but the usher has no fucking clue because he's just helping somebody with the tickets. So he's like, hey man, doesn't this guy look like his name is fucking two initials? Like that's LW right there. You know what I mean? His name is two initials. It's like little stupid moments, like Alaska say, like there's a little stupid ass little clip like that. But it's like that type of comedy. Like I said, I used to watch all the comedy channels, Dennis Miller and fucking Richard Lewis and like all of those people. And I don't remember their bits as much as I do like from people in Def Comedy Jam comedy. Like it's a different wave.
And the sets were pretty short too. It wasn't like a super long set. It was like 3 or 4 jokes and then they're out of there. But you know a show that nobody absolutely ever got famous from. It's Comics Unleashed.
Which one's that? On Comedy Central?
You don't know Comics Unleashed?
No,
so basically this guy Byron Allen.
I was gonna ask if it was Byron Allen.
Was that his late night show? This is Comics Unleashed with Byron Allen. That's the intro. But so like the story behind Comics Unleashed, because again, I rabbit holed it. Byron Allen bought advertising time on late night when it was the cheapest and put a TV show there because it was the cheapest. He was like, so I'll just produce my own TV show. So he basically filmed all this canned footage of just interviewing comedians in a room, having them do a bit, and cobbled it together to become TV shows. And literally to this day, it comes on I don't know if it's every night, but it's always on. at like
I've
fucking
seen
1
this
in the
dude.
morning.
I'm looking at this motherfucker. I've seen this dude.
Fine.
He's like a media mogul now.
He owns the Weather Channel.
Yeah.
He
Oh,
owns the fucking Weather Channel. And
That's a
he's
come up,
fucking
dog.
yo, Byron Allen is a G. Byron Allen is the master P of comedy.
Yeah.
Like straight up.
Wow. Oh,
Like,
you know
he's-
why I know this dude? This shit would be on at the bar when you're fucking shit faced and no sound on, and you
Yeah,
would
and then-
look up and you see the captions, and you're like, "Oh, Comics Unleashed." It's like that type of shit.
They're sitting on a TV set with a brick wall, but like it's the weirdest shit. So
Yes.
like the more recent episodes, they have a DJ, and if I'm not
Stop.
mistaken,
Stop.
I could be wrong. The DJ's equipment is not wired. Like it's just
Get the
literally a
fuck
can
outta
in
here,
front of a
man.
thing, and it'll be
Yes.
like the can, the DJ scratch sounds.
Oh
for the,
my god!
it is-
Oh my god!
It's so bad, man.
I'm
But-
looking. I'm looking at clips. Yes, this is shit I saw at the bar when I was trying to bag some chicken. It wasn't working out. I would just glance up at the screen and see this shit. Yes.
But again, like
Comics Unleashed. I never heard the audio because it was always on fucking mute at a bar.
trust me, it's you. If you watch one episode, it's kind of becomes like one of those like it became a slight obsession for me because it was always on it. Like the format is always like Byron it's an interview show where he sets you up to tell your joke to do your bit,
Okay.
and he'll be like, so Alaska, I hear that you're having car trouble. I'm like, yeah, cars. I fucking hate cars and cars. It's like it's the weirdest talk show in the
Donwill,
world.
I've noticed white people and black people drive differently. Would you have anything to say about that?
Yeah, so when I went to driving school when I was 26 because I never like it's that level of
Oh
fucking
my
weird
God.
canned plan perform shit. But it's when you think about how like raw and fucking innovative Def Comedy Jam was, and then you look at
Comics
Comics
Unleashed.
Unleashed, it's like they're worlds apart.
Comics
So are you
Unleashed.
ready to bring this full circle with Byron Allen?
Let's do it.
He is considering buying the Denver Broncos.
Get the fuck
Not the
outta
Cleveland
here.
Broncos, but the Denver Broncos.
Cleveland Broncos.
So Byron
Worth
Allen,
$500 million.
Wow.
stand-up comedian, media mogul, sports
Wow.
franchise owner. This is the Byron Allen Def Comedy Jam episode.
Wow.
Holy shit. That is like the perfect full, like you just closed the circle, man. I don't know where else we can go from this.
I mean,
What
you
the
know,
fuck?
After we stop, I'll share one more tidbit, but it can't top that. The Byron Allen Denver Bronco
Byron Allen. Amazing.
DJ with nothing plugged in set up. That's fucking astounding.
Well, he's got to cut costs so he can afford buying the Denver Broncos.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Denver
Apparently,
Knicks.
he gives his shows away for free, which you might have said actually.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
he
he gives-
he-
Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, from what I heard, the thing that I saw is that he buys advertising time and just cobbles together canned footage. So it's like, it's literally just scraps that he makes into a meal.
Yeah. So the thing I was just reading, they said he gives the networks the shows for free, basically in exchange for the advertising dollars.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's kind of what that tracks.
Yeah.
Wow.
So like instead of like getting like 3% of advertising dollars, he gets 50%.
Jesus
And then he buys
Christ.
the advertising on his own and sells it at I guess like gets it at a discounted rate.
Wow.
So then he could jack up the price.
Oh
He's
my
he's a
god.
genius.
Yo, he's a hustler, man.
Yeah.
Shouts to Byron. Byron.
Yeah.
Comics
He took
Unleashed.
that that Gotham and Hamptons magazine model where it's like, or Vice magazine. Remember they used to have it in free, like Yellow Rat Bastard.
Oh yeah, YRB.
But it was like they
right
made
at
their
the
whole
tower.
thing off of advertising.
Oh yeah, Tower Records. Dude, Prem, well, last time I was in Harlem, Prem had like a Yellow Rat Bastard bag to like carry his vinyl to the show. I'm like, dog, I haven't seen Yellow Rat Bastard since like 04. This is amazing. Holy shit, you're taking me there.
My wife was going through like a trunk and she found a Yellow Rat Bastard sticker. I was like, "Oh, that's fine."
With the little mouse on it, the white,
Yep.
yeah, the big ass
Nah,
eyes.
let me Google Yellow Rat Bastard. I
Oh,
feel like
you
I
missed
remember
this
the
name.
name.
You might,
It might have been closed by the time you moved to New York. It was like
Yeah.
like a Broadway, like a like sort of like it was like the original Supreme.
yes,
I've
Yes.
definitely seen the logo and
YRB.
seen the
Yep.
things.
Yeah.
YRB.
I
But
used to
yeah,
get a lot
this
of
was
P&B
before my time.
sweaters there.
Yeah, they would have
Those
that. They would have like
Bill sweaters.
upper playground,
Yeah.
Zoo York, all that shit.
Mecca.
Mecca. what was the other brand? They had I forget the name. It was like the company from San Francisco. I think it was Upper Playground anyway. Yeah, shouts to YRB. Cool, man. Well, I think we can wrap everything up.
Yeah, I think we
Donwill, just again, while you're on the show, I said on Twitter 2 times. Don and Von, just what a fucking triumph of a record, man. Jesus Christ.
Oh
yeah,
man,
it's so good.
thank you.
It sounds like when I played that album, I was like, it sounded like you and Von have hit in that stage of your career and your lives where you're like, we're so fucking fly and confident and cool. Like this shit is effortless. Like it just had like a very wise and dope older MC vibe where it's like this shit felt like, it sounded like water the way you guys were rapping that shit to me. You know what I mean? Whereas like the other Tanya Morgan albums always felt like you're like, it was conceptual or like you were trying to pursue something or like prove a point or like trying to do something. Whereas this one felt like he's ill, I'm ill. You know what it is. Here it is. Here's a record. And I was just like blown away peeping that shit. So congrats to you guys.
You know, thank you. Like real quick, that was kind of like, you caught it. Like the thing about the other albums being heavily conceptual is like, we're gonna art the best art we can possibly art because this art is gonna art. And this album was just like, man, let's just do some songs. and that's always been, well, not always, but it was a long-term goal of mine to just like, I've always wanted to do an album called Don and Von to just kind of like put ourselves like lift the curtain a little bit, because you know it's always the thing like, so Tanya Morgan, what's the group name about? It's this thing that's a thing, and it's silly, but it's also serious and it's good, and it's like, let's just put our names on the front of this thing. And you know what I'm saying? It was the perfect time. The concept was that there was no concept. The concept was that we're just dudes who can rap really well. Yeah.
Fuck yeah. It reminded me of like Sean P when like Monkey Bars, in the sense of like everything he did was just like, fuck it, man. I'm just nice. I don't care. I'm set. Like whatever. You're gonna like this shit. You know what I mean?
This
like,
this might be one of the highest compliments I've ever received.
Like straight up. Like it just it's one of the albums where like when it's done, you're like, I think I memorized like 80 bars already off this shit. And I'm just like, it's so easy. I'm like, these guys are fucking just knocking it out. Like all the years, it's like, this is a breeze now. You know what I mean? It's like, I think it's the best work. So I just want to salute you officially on the show.
You touched my heart. I need a transcript of this podcast so I can tattoo that exact quote on my forearm.
There it is. What are you gonna say, Alaska?
I was gonna say, when you had the album release party at Beer Wax,
yeah,
Cryptic and I were there. Like we just happened to be there. Like I didn't even know the party was happening, and like the album's playing. We're like, "Fuck, this is really good." Like just sitting there, like, you know, Chris was like, "Yeah, they're doing an album release party." I was like, "Oh, cool." And we're like, "Fuck, these guys are killing it." Like just every song was like, "God damn, it was so good."
Yes, I remember I said it to you,
really enjoyed it, man.
I said to the Alaskan, I was like, "You've heard this record?" You were like, "Yo, me and Cryptic were at their album release party." I was like, "Oh shit!" He was like, "We just happened to fucking be there. It was great." I was like, "Oh shit, this is crazy."
Yeah, y'all truly have no idea how much this is like making my night. You know what I'm saying? Like,
nice.
Because again, it's cool to get a level of like praise and compliment from people whose art you respect too. You know what I'm saying? So it's that thing where it's just like, well, the work is done. That's
yeah. If you go back and peep, I think our best of 2021 episode, whenever the hell that aired, we definitely shouted out that album. We were like, go fuck with the Don and Von record now.
Sometime in January 2022. Like
we just it came out at some point, but we bigged up that album heavily.
You know, things get to you when they get to you. You know what I'm saying? Like there are people who are literally still just like, didn't you just drop something? I mean, yeah, it's new when you find it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not tripping at all. Yeah. I'm just happy that it's finding people. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. There's no expiration date on great art, bro.
30-year albums that I never heard before. I'm like, oh man, that's amazing. Brand new.
Absolutely, yeah. I actively search for old new records. You know what I'm saying? Like records that I might have like gave a half listen to, or just absolutely just flew past me. Yeah, 100%. I have a list in my phone of like albums to check out.
That's what's up.
Fuck yeah. Good, nice, man. Alaska, you got anything else?
No, not right now. Cool. I mean, you know, eventually this album with Ray and I is gonna drop, but
sure. Yeah. Just the Ray. Castro is thriving, hanging in there. So praise to Castro, and he's recovering, kicking ass every day. I feel bad for him. He just woke up after a lengthy nap because the group text that he's in has been fucking exploding with NBA text for the last 3 hours. Now he's gonna wake up to like 60 texts of me like bragging about winning money and Prem bragging, and then talk about LeBron and the Bulls and all this shit. So shouts to people taking naps and missing the group text when it's fucking exploding. That's
shouts to Castro, man. I was looking forward to like having the full crew.
Oh man,
you know what I'm saying?
He will be rejuvenated. I assure you. His birthday's coming up on Friday, so he's gonna be very active online. I promise you on that day.
I'll just put it on the table that when I come back,
yes, you'll be
on this because I've heard first time guests a few times, which means there are second time guests that come back. So
many time guests.
Whenever you guys want to let me blabber about things, I'm more than happy to.
We'll do that, man. Yeah, and last but not least, I guess the only thing I got going on is I just put out a beat tape for Bandcamp Day last week, and all the proceeds go to Castro. It's called the My Secret Identity beat tape, based on the Jerry O'Connell TV show from the late 80s, early 90s. All the beats were made on my son's iPad over 48 hours during Super Bowl weekend when I was just sitting on the couch doing nothing. So there's some trap shit on there. There's some Drake shit. There's some fucking fake Pete Rock shit. I do pat myself on the back. The song titles, the beat titles are ridiculous. I was going for Blockhead, Small Pros Crown with some of the beat titles, including beats called like I Like Shit and I Go Outside. That's on there. Another beat called Your First Beat from College. That's on there, with the jazzy bullshit. So it's fun. It's fucking ridiculous. It is all clips from Jerry O'Connell's show, My Secret Identity, spliced throughout the tape. So if you like that show, it's for you. If you never see the show, just give it a whirl. It's a great waste of time.
I saw you post about I like shit. I go outside. I was like, I gotta check this out.
The beats are just like trap beats, fucking OVO beats. Like I said, fake Pete Rock. It's all in there. There's one beat called Study Wave, which is my entry into the lo-fi game. Trying to make the Spotify rounds, make $1 million, make some sneaker money.
Let's go. You gotta get that 1 million streams off of the simplest lo-fi beat possible.
Oof, it's in there. So it's a fun little project. So if people want to get 18 beats for $5 with some clips of a forgotten cable show about a kid who gets shot with a laser and gets 50 superpowers, give it a whirl. It might be up. Your alley.
I've ever seen that show.
You never saw My Secret Identity with Jerry O'Connell? Man. Oh my god!
I haven't seen it either.
Wow, it was on in Philly. It was a channel called Channel 17 WPHL, which was like our turn knob channel. So we had like the 3 networks and then Fox and then PHL 7. It's kind of like maybe like your Channel 9 in New York, maybe kind of like that, where you would get like whatever channel you would get like Xenu Warrior Princess on, whatever channel that was. That was like
CW.
CW. Okay, so yes,
I think it was CW or whatever UPN. It was like one of those like
correct
the weird 5th channel like on the dial.
So that's what we had first. It was called Channel 17 before it became WB, then CW and UPN, all that. So that show, My Secret Identity with Jerry O'Connell, was on. It was like a Saturday afternoon show. It was just about a kid who gets shot with a laser, living in the suburbs. He gets 10 fucking. He's basically Superman. He gets all the powers and can't tell anybody. And of course, his best friend is a fucking weirdo professor in the neighborhood who helps him navigate his life. Always. Somehow
professors are always hanging out with young kids.
Yeah, it's a little weird, but it's a great show nonetheless. So if you've never checked it, if you listen to the beat tape, you'll get the gist. There's a lot of clips. It's like a documentary of the Jerry O'Connell.
Is it anything like Dead at 21?
I don't know what that is. Dead at 21.
They have
MTV show.
They have full episodes. I'm sorry. They have full episodes of My Secret Identity on YouTube.
Just watch one and you've seen them all. It is the same fucking episode all the time. But the funny thing is like watching him age from like being Vern from Stand By Me to like being like a hot shot, like 6'2", like chiseled dude from Scream by the time it ends. You're like, all right, this is kind of silly watching this guy. At the beginning, he's like, I got these powers. What do I do? At the end, he's like, yeah, I picked up a truck on the way here to school. No one knew it was me. They didn't figure it out. I'm like, all right, bro. It's a great. So clearly no one has seen this fucking show but me. Whatever. Yeah. That's how it is. But I appreciate you guys humoring me.
It's like that.
sometimes. So I'm glad it's new to people. So there you go. The My Secret
Well,
Identity B tape.
I've got my homework. I've got my Secret Identity watch. I've got Fat Tuesdays to watch. I've got the B tape to listen to. I've got a lot of stuff to do.
Look at this. Thanks. And when you come back, we're gonna give you some follow-up assignments, grade you out, make you do an essay.
I'll come back with
a style.
Yeah, give me a book report to write. I'll come back with a book report.
Very good. Thanks, man. Well, we're signing off here. Donwill, been a fucking real pleasure. Co-op Culture Podcast, me and Alaska. Cash for holding it down in spirit. And check us out on Patreon, Twitter, YouTube, IG. I'm on TikTok. The show's not on TikTok. You just fuck with me on TikTok. You can fuck with Donwill on everything. Twitch. Great Twitter follower again, please. Follow the man.
Yeah.
And that's it. We'll include all the links in the profile for the show as well. And that's it, man. All right. Signing off, everybody.
Thank you for having me.
Man. Thanks, dude. We'll see you later. Peace.